Okay, so to begin, I'm going to show you how I would introduce teaching students how to make relationships between numbers and quantities. So to show you, I'm going to show you a little math center that I would use in my classroom that would help students be able to make these relationships between numbers and quantities. So first, I would introduce students to the numbers of a quantity to the number symbol. So in this example, this is going to show how I would have students match the number of chocolate chips on a cookie to the appropriate number in the cookie jar. So this helps students be able to visualize how they can match the quantity of something to the number symbol. So for example, down here I have all of these cookies that are laminated chocolate chip cookies, and it is from 1 to 10 in terms of the amount of chocolate chips on each cookie. So I've got a 1 here, and I've got 4 here, and then of course here we've got 9. So to begin, I would have students match each of these 10 cookies to the correct number that is on the cookie jar. So for example, I would ask my student to match the number of chocolate chips on this cookie to the number on there. So of course you can start this out by modeling this for the students, which would be an important aspect of explicit teaching. But once they get that concrete understanding of what it is, this would be just a great practice for them to be able to really master that skill of counting and cardinality. So here's an example or two from this type of problem. So this cookie right here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chocolate chips. So I would have my student or students pair this 7 chocolate chips on this cookie to the number 7 on the cookie jar. After that, you would have the students, and of course you can have the students do this in order, or you can have them do it randomly. To really make sure the students are understanding the skill and mastering counting and cardinality, it's important to be able to have them do it randomly instead of just memorizing the numbers 1 through 10. So here's another example. This chocolate chip right here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chocolate chips. So right now, if I were to be doing this with a student, I would ask them, if this has 9 chocolate chips, what number does this cookie match with in the cookie jar? And you would hope that the student would say the number 9, and then they would pair it with the number 9 on the cookie jar. So here's one more for this type of problem. Let's go ahead and go with this one right here. Here's this cookie, and then of course after you model it for the student and do one together, you would want them to do it on their own. So if I were the student, I would count it out loud, just as I did in my think aloud strategy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chocolate chip cookies on this cookie. So where would this one go? This one, of course, would go on the 10. And then, of course, you can have your student go all the way through them and make sure that they match all of the chocolate chip cookies to the appropriate places. Afterwards, check, make sure that they did it right. If they didn't, of course, tell them to go back, recount their chocolate chips, and make sure that they did it all right. Okay, so for the second part of this video, I'm going to show how I would have students connect quantities to number words. This is a skill that students should be able to master after that they are able to master the quantity of something to the number symbol. Of course, students first learn number symbols before they learn number words. But this is also a skill that goes into the kindergarten, counting and cardinality standard, understand the relationship between numbers and quantities, connect counting to cardinality. So for this one, you use the same types of cookies right here that I've got. And again, this is actually just the other half of this Cookie Monster Math Center that I've created for my future students. And these have Velcro on the back of them actually, which helps students be able to put them on here. Another great thing that you can do is use a tins frame. I have a baking sheet that I have similar cookies that I use, and I have students match the chocolate chips on the cookies to the numbers in the tins frame. That just is another type of manipulative that I would use in this. Chocolate chips on cookies are kind of an easy visual for students to use, and plus most kids love chocolate chips, so it would be a great thing to reward students with a cookie after they are able to complete all of this. So for this one, on the cookie jar, it has 1 through 10, and they are the number words, not the number symbols. But again, you're going to do the same thing that the students would have done in the first part of the video that I showed. And so in this one, you would really want to try to have students do this completely on their own. But of course, you can teach this skill by modeling it, using a think aloud strategy of how you reasoned your answer for matching the number of chocolate chips onto the correct number word. And then you could do a problem or two with a student or your small group of students. In this particular situation, I would be using this with my intervention groups in the resource room. So these students would be receiving small group intervention in mathematics. So to begin this part, like I said, I would do explicit teaching and or follow the explicit teaching model. And then I would have them do the problems on this center on their own. But I would absolutely do this probably using bigger chocolate chip cookies as I'm modeling it. But of course, you can provide scaffolding for your students as they are going through this center. So for this one, I'm just going to do a couple examples since it's pretty similar to the other one. This one, let's look at this chocolate chip cookie. This chocolate chip cookie has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chocolate chips on it. So I would ask my student, if this has 8 chocolate chips on it, what number word does this go with? And of course, if they answered it correctly, it would be the number word 8. And the way that I put the Velcro on the actual cookie jar is I put it directly below the number word, so it doesn't cover up the number word. You can put it on there to where it covers up, but I think that in my experience it helps students read it better. If it's covered up, then they can't really read the word, especially at a young age. And it also can help them visualize that just one step more. So here's another example. This cookie right here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cookies. So this one would go on the 9 spot. And then of course you would go and so on. This cookie right here has 1, 2, 3, 4 chocolate chips, so it would go on the 4. And it's important to note that after the student has done this a couple times, whether using this manipulative or another type of model in terms of matching quantities to number words and number symbols, you really want to get your student to not have to count with their fingers how many. They should be able to just count in their head, visualize it, and be able to place it immediately. But then again, you know, students all learn at different levels and at different paces, so provide the amount of scaffolding that you believe is most appropriate for your students. But then again, that is all that I have to show you with the Cookie Monster Math Center and the cookie jars. And that's it.